All right, guys. So thank you all for joining us for the Voxcast with Andy Vasily. We're here with Andy and the participants of the Voxcast. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have 1 minute to kind of break down your big takeaways from the podcast. So when I call your name, from that point, you have 1 minute to kind of give your big ideas or what you thought about the podcast. Okay. So we will start with Anthony. All right, so go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
All right. Well, this is alphabetical, right? This is why I'm going first.
Yeah, I'm just going by the order that's on my screen. So you're the lucky first pick.
Super. Well, listen, my takeaway is very simple. I feel like no matter whether we teach in New Jersey, Colorado, Nanjing, China, Australia, I feel like we are the same, and our students are the same. You know, they have the same needs, and so whether you are teaching games for understanding, whether you're very heavy inquiry based, a lot of times I just feel like we all have a similar goal in mind, and the students are, for the most part, the same. They may differ in their needs. And my big thing that I got out of this was, the needs of the students, we have to put them first, and that has to drive our instruction. And I think we all have taken a big step. I mean, I would say 1 year ago, 2 years ago, doing something like this would be pretty much unheard of. And the fact that all of us are seeking out this improvement, it goes to show that we are in this for our kids, no matter what continent we're on.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, that was your minute. All right, so Eric, you're up next. Oh, are you done? I'm sorry.
No, I'm getting what I just said back in my ears.
Oh, okay. That was a pause. So go ahead and finish your thought if you want to, or we can move on to.
No, I think that was pretty much my thought. I don't want to ramble too much.
All right, excellent, great job. All right, Eric, you are next.
Okay, hey everybody. I think part of like what Tony had just said, it really all that we should be doing as teachers is driven by the needs of our students. And so some of those may be different because of the different geographical areas we're in and the different populations we have, but that's really what needs to drive our instruction is the kids. Some of the things that Andy had said about some things for the new teachers, I think, can be applied to us old guys and gals as well. Taking it easy, still allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. I think over this last year with being on Twitter and Voxer, I've allowed myself to do that more often, and it's been very freeing to see that people are in similar situations as myself, and I've been able to learn so much by doing that. Yeah, there's just so many good ideas thrown out today. I've got 2 pages worth of notes while I was sitting in the car watching my daughter play soccer. So that would be probably my takeaway for right now.
All right, Jimmy, you're up.
All right, kind of going off of what everybody else has said, the biggest thing that I took out of it was when I asked a question about the international schools. So really, appearance is not everything. Some of the things that I've seen with the international schools, their PE programs, they do throw a lot of money into them. So I appreciate you answering that question and kind of showing me that there is differences in international schools, Andy. The biggest thing that I also looked at was the reflection. Being able to reflect, not only to see what works well, but what also you need to work on. So that was one of the biggest things that I could see was the reflection. And I guess I can say this because of what we've done in the last couple of weeks. I've been able to allow myself to be really vulnerable when I didn't think I could be. So I appreciate that very much.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. Joe, you're up.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'd say that one of the biggest things that resonated with me was what Andy was talking about with teaching personal social responsibility um, through physical education. I think sometimes, that can be a neglected domain, yet it's one of the most important ones that we need to address because we have such an amazing platform to teach skills that will take our students and throughout their lives they can apply to a whole range of different situations. And I liked how Andy was talking about some of the different theories and so on that he incorporates into his classes to make sure he's meeting that effective side for his students as well. So it's a good reminder to go back and make sure that me myself I'm hitting those points, and for anyone else who's out there, are we making sure we're keeping that part in there as well.
All right, thank you. Nick, you're up. I'm sorry, Nick Enley.
All right. Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what everybody else has been saying. I think for me the biggest thing, moving forward, and I think Andy talked about it. Not just looking from within our own profession, but even going outside of physical education, looking at education in general, and I think even going outside of education. I would have to agree. I'm also a TED Talk junkie. One of my favorite TED Talks is called Embracing the Shake. Basically, it's about accepting your limitations and how to actually take those limitations and make them into a positive, actually make them into an asset, and make them a strength. And when Andy talked about, not just TED Talks, but other, looking at education in general and best practices, that kind of resonated with me as, something that, in order to continue to progress and move forward, we have to expand outside of our box and go outside the box and look at things from a different perspective.
All right, thanks, Nick. Nick Spencer, you're next.
Andy, I really appreciated just your openness and willingness to share the different things that you do in your classrooms, whether it's Twitter, Voxer, all the different venues, your website. And the last couple of weeks, I've been out of school, so I've been able to kind of dig in different places. And seeing on Twitter and seeing your questions, your inquiry questions that lead your discussions, lead your units, I really like them. They're super broad, they're super open-ended. I've always had a guiding question per lesson, but not for the unit. And I really like how you have those questions set up for your different units and help guide your students to where you want to go, and you can do so many different things with those. So I'm definitely going to start doing that more with my students and having more open-ended, more broader questions and have it leading the entire unit versus just one specific day. The other thing that really resonated with me was the walk and talk. A lot of the times when we, like Eric had mentioned during the Voxer, was that we have talk and turn. So you sit and talk with a neighbor, but I like the activity part where they're moving and talking at the exact same time. And I've been talking to a couple teachers in my district today about that, and they really like that idea as well. So I definitely am going to incorporate that into my class and going to be doing the more questions.
All right, thanks, Nick. So my few of the takeaways that I got, number one, I think Nick and Lake kind of talked about this a little bit, was looking outside of education for inspiration. I think that's huge, and I love those TED Talks as well.
And I've been talking to a couple teachers.
Some of the book recommendations, I'm definitely going to check that out. And then I loved your advice to new teachers when you said just chill out and take it easy. I think I have to do that every now and then. I have to take a step back and just kind of relax and chill out and just take it easy, because there's so much information out there and there's so much that I want to do, and every now and then it's just beneficial to me and my sanity and my students to just kind of chill out and take it easy. So I really love that advice. So Andy, what were your thoughts on the podcast?
I think, I go back to a discussion that I had with Ash Casey a couple weeks ago, and it's the whole idea about having these discussions. And even though today I was the one being kind of interviewed and asked questions, it's every one of us when we're having these discussions, we're all going to benefit from it. And I think it's the idea of understanding that there's a connection and that we have similar experiences. So it's about, to me, it's about these discussions, and that we keep talking about we have to change our profession, we have to change our profession, but we are changing our profession by having these discussions, and it's through those little those micro improvements and those little steps along the way that we are changing our profession. And if we look 10 years from now, we will be a very important part of the change that is going to take place in physical education, and we're all pioneers, so we're all in it together. And I think that's the important thing to understand, is we have so much to offer through these discussions.
All right. Well, thank you, Andy, for joining us and doing this with us. I think I speak for everybody when we say that this is very beneficial to us, and I think just recording this and then recording the podcast and sending it out to everybody is going to be beneficial to everybody else. So just really thank you, and we really appreciate your time.
Hey, no problem. Thanks, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Voxer. And who's going to the Institute in Asheville? Raise your hand if you're going to Asheville.
I cannot wait. It's going to be so awesome.
Joe, are you going?
I cannot wait either.
Good. Good. Okay, cool. I've got to go teach, so I will talk to you guys soon, okay?
All right, thanks, Andy.
Okay, bye-bye.